speaking of fist through the wall, I guess that is going to bring us to our topics. And I did actually add one in here because Tristan brought up people were asking about it, and I wasn't sure if we covered it, but no, we didn't. So let's get into our first topic, which is the Marvel Studios show cancellations, which they weren't so much out the gate, everything's canceled. It was like Brad Winderbaum did like, Winderbaum did like 8 different interviews, and every interview he was like, mentions another show and either says shelved, trying to figure it out, or we're done with that. And
and that's what I was looking at the comments, and it's saying this show and this show is not canceled. It's not, it's just shelved. I'm like, well, they're not doing it. Is that essentially what it is, especially because they took like from what the comments were saying, like an example would be Moon Knight, and I'm like, they've been trying to do another one, but they said no, they're not doing it again. Like,
but isn't the rumor that Moon Knight's getting a movie though?
Yeah, that is the rumor.
And like what they said is like he might show up in something else, and then that's where the comments we're rolling about, you guys just stop talking about projects being canceled when they're not brought up, or they're trying to reorganize and redo it again. And I'm like, for all intents and purposes, these certain projects are one and done for the most part.
I mean, it's unfortunate that that's where we are with Marvel Studios, but I think all of us know, especially Jared as the biggest Star Wars fan here, those budgets are so huge that Disney thought infinite growth permanently. And when you can't sustain infinite growth because that's not possible, you got to downsize, which is why like Mando and Grogu is a movie and not another season, because it would have been the same cost. And they know they're actually going to make money off of a film, like it's...
with the jury still being out as to whether or not we still get a Mando season 4. Like they have made it very clear that like this isn't necessarily the end of the show.
Right.
Which, I'm very excited to see what happens. And I don't remember the full list of shows that either got shelved or got canned or, is kind of being restructured again.
Nova, Strange Academy,
Terror Inc., I think.
Terror Inc. Yeah, that's one, yeah.
That was the one I always kept forgetting. No, I think that like, especially on the heels of like the big kerfuffle with Kathleen Kennedy over the past couple of weeks, where it was the, that scoop that she was leaving and that she sat down with Deadline and kind of ran through like, I'm not leaving Lucasfilm at all. If anything, I will be stepping down from the president position in the conceivable future, but I'm not going to stop producing. I'm not going to stop being involved. I'm going to be here to like guide whoever takes my place. And she was talking about like this weird level of scrutiny that Lucasfilm is always under. And, the person who interviewed her, whose name is escaping me for Deadline, was talking about, the weird expectations of a film president executive type. That standard kind of weirdly shifted because like Feige seemed bulletproof for so long. And I am very much on the record of saying that in the year of 2020, when there is no new Marvel project hitting screens, be it silver or television, that Marvel fans speed ran in 1 year what it took Star Wars fans to do in 10, which is fully invent this like mythical before time when everything was perfect, everything was running smooth, everything was, peachy keen. And, Marvel fans convinced themselves that the Infinity Saga was immaculately planned from the beginning and there were no hiccups and there were no road bumps and nothing went wrong and nothing, And I do think that Marvel is beginning to have that Star Wars Lucasfilm level of like there are so many eyes on it that people can't help but go, what the hell is going on? And like and again, this is a normal thing in the business of going, hey, we have this idea, we really want to do this, but like we can't quite make the blocks fit together. And it is disappointing and it is frustrating when something gets announced. Or even if something is like not even announced, but like the trades inform us of it. and we know that it's in development. And now Brad Vinderbaum is put in the position where he has to acknowledge it because Hollywood Reporter and Variety, etc., are all reporting that it exists. He has to go, yeah, it existed in theory, and now we aren't quite doing something with it.
Yeah, that's another point to where even when we did talk about Marvel stuff getting canned, to where we even dabbled in with the DC stuff, and it's just the name of the game is that things will go through, will be kind of peachy keen, and other ones where things fall through because they have to reorganize, and the project they thought that they had that was foolproof wasn't, so they have to step away from it for a time, or can it outright, or change it into something else that they feel that is profitable, which is perfectly normal. It's it sucks for the fans of that particular IP that they want so very much, but it's sometimes it's just either a vision thing or a money thing. It's like you really can't fault the company for trying to go forward.
That's the thing with everything here. I have, as long as this channel has existed, especially when Marvel began Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and ABC started producing all the Defender shows, I've been saying the wrong way to handle this is movie budgets on TV shows because it's not sustainable. There are videos going back 5-10 years where I'm like, the TV model, $40 to $50 million a season is what you need to do. It's never going to work at $150, $200 million seasons. And people are like, well, yes, it is. It was never going to work. And we see that their new model is the old TV model. You need a yearly rollout, a new season at least every year, maybe a year and a half. You can't do a Netflix where, hey, you want Stranger Things? The last season, by the time the new one comes out, will be 5 years old. You cannot do that to sustain it. And Netflix, they don't make a lot. They also license a lot of stuff and buy up stuff to fill their gaps. Disney can't do that. So you're getting Alien Earth this summer. I guarantee you that show costs so much, you're not going to get a sequel unless they can reuse a lot of sets. And we look at the Marvel shows that were canceled or backburned. I want Strange Academy more than anything that was scrapped. But the reality of it is that show was going to cost 120, 150 million. And for the budget of that show, they can make 3 more seasons of Daredevil. Which one do you think they're going to do?
That's why I give like the example of something like Daredevil is, why don't you just use one of the characters that's hot right now because of Marvel Rivals is Squirrel Girl. Doreen can be used as a shuttle to explore the universe more because she can do fantastical things, but she can also do mundane everyday things, just being herself, a girl with a tail talking to people around New York City, seeing what other things are going on. You may have Daredevil show up in an episode and just talking about things. You may have She-Hulk in another episode talking about things. You may have a whole bunch of other characters talking about things, and you can probably fit it all into a lower end budget because for all intents and purposes, I've yet to see like a slice of life type of thing on in a Marvel setting. So.
Absolutely. I think the connecting it to She-Hulk, like in the way that you did, like, like Jennifer could show up. Like She-Hulk is the closest we've come to like a slice of life, kind of like just, I don't want to say procedural comedy, but it's a workplace comedy, it's like she's a lawyer and it's funny and whatnot, but like and that's the other thing is that like I think that like you were saying, Armin, like this bizarre model that Marvel saddled itself with, where it was like, we're just going to take a bunch of things that we had pitched as movies and, stretch them out over 8 episodes. Some of those have worked better than others, and some of them play into the TV format really well. Like WandaVision doesn't work if it's a movie. It hinges on being television. By virtue of like what it's doing and how it's playing with genre and format. But like, Moon Knight, I like the Moon Knight show. I said before, I was like, this would have been so much better as a movie because these first 3 episodes were a slog. I think the same can be said for Ms. Marvel. Like I love that show, and Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is just home run, legendary casting. But like the pacing of that show is buck wild.
And that's why now, like, was it Punisher is a special presentation because like we're talking the last episode, Armin was saying like, for as good as Punisher is, you don't need a season of Punisher because it's just going to be people talking, then Frank show up. take out some guys, then leave, talk again, and then finally you get the payoff of Punisher just going ham.
I say it's a hot take. I don't think Punisher's a character that can sustain a movie or a show.
I was about to say, I think he's a much better supporting character,
Yeah,
and that's just my take. Like, I'm sure there are people who are much more well read with Frank and his history.
The hottest take I got as a huge Punisher fan who's read everything since about 19 whatever. Punisher Warzone is the closest you get to unhinged Punisher, but nobody liked that film because it wasn't Tom Jane. And Tom Jane's Punisher messed up a whole generation by making him a cop, and which is why they now sport that logo. Like, John Bernthal is good. That Punisher is great, but
never made that connection. I never made that connection that it's that is like a, people like kids my age for the longest time didn't understand web shooters.
Right.
Because it just came out of Toby.
Right.
I never made that connection until right now, because I think I've maybe seen that movie like once. And like practically a decade ago. But but I never made that connection that the amount of people who just saw the first Punisher film
that's it,
went, Frank's a cop. I've always assumed that people just saw him mowing people down on Netflix.
It happens in a lot of things. Like another thing is people thought for Justice League, the animated cartoon, they thought John Stewart was the original Green Lantern. And then you see Hal Jordan and it's like, who's this white guy on here?
Yeah.
Dude, when I got exposed to the Flash, really, when I heard Wally West wasn't the Flash, I was like, who the hell's Barry Allen? What? No, Wally's the Flash. They're like, no, it's Barry. I was like, I don't care about this dude. He's ancient. It's not funny.
You think that's a deep cut when you say, oh, I was here when Jay was.
Jay Garrett.
Who's that?
So, again, we did want to touch upon the cancellations just a little bit more to address all that, but we do got another topic that's it kind of folds off of this into the bigger picture, which of course is, thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.